Hi guys, good evening. Let's start the analysis for this week. But before that, just like last week, we are going to start with the outcome of the analysis that we did last week. So we had short for all the stocks. Overall direction was bearish. Maruti was a short signal. So what we see here is price went up, but you can see by the time it closed, it did become bearish. So this call went decent, although the trend is just starting now. So you can see price was more or less around the same resistance where it closed last week. There was a pullback, and today we had the confirmation. So which means next week is when the actual trend should begin. Moving on to Infi, we were bearish on Infi last week. For this week we were bearish, but we see an indecision inside candle. So not much of a movement. Price was at the same resistance. It's very range bound. And if you see the daily chart, we didn't see much of a movement on this stock. We were expecting Infratel to be bearish, but here you can see price actually dipped, but it recovered. So after falling, it even recovered and has pulled back up, which all happened today. We were bearish on ITC for last week, and I think this week, yes, it has been falling. You can see we had a strong bearish movement this week. So those of you who did take this call should have made some money. In fact, today morning, on those of you who are on the mentorship group, today morning we discussed this trade, and that's how the market is playing out. So this still is a good short. Asian Paints, we were bearish. Price did fall, not much, but yes, it has come back to the low. We were bearish on Britannia. Britannia has done indecision. Now if you check the daily chart, there was a gap up and price starts to fall again. So direction is still bearish, but for last week it was indecision. Nestle, we were bearish on this, although the market is indecision, but the closing price is still below the opening price. Titan, we were bearish, but we see there was no movement at all on Titan. We have a very small candle, so this could be a sign of consolidation ahead or maybe a correction. So this week it was at the same range. Cipla, we were expecting bearish movement. Price did fall, but then by the time it closed, it has recovered. We have a rejection of the support as well. Sun Pharma, price opened with a gap down, moved up a little bit and came back. So we have indecision in Sun Pharma, although we were expecting it to be bearish this week. Bharat Petrol, you can see price is not really moved. Indecision candle. IOC, we were expecting a fall and price has come down. So this went as per plan. So as you see, most of them went as per plan or did not really move. But we didn't really have, except maybe one, we didn't have too many trades going against us. ONGC was also bearish. Reliance, we were expecting sideways movement, so it is still in the range. Alright, so let's now begin with the analysis for this week, starting with Nifty. Now what we see in Nifty is we have another indecision, back-to-back 2 weeks of indecision candlesticks, although this week was a gap down, but again indecision. So that shows that we don't have, the market is not showing any strength of moving up right now. Price should be doing a correction. If you check the daily chart, you have a rejection which just happened today. So we have a lower high which got confirmed with today's movement. Bank Nifty, on the other hand, if you check the weekly chart, we are actually bullish, but I would not be very devoted to this kind of a candlestick. The reason being, this is got spikes on both sides, so it's still an indecision again. It did better than Nifty did for sure, but for next week, am I bullish on this? No, not yet bullish. We had a gap up today, but you can see price could not sustain and started to come back down. So lower time frames give you the real picture. We should be looking at a double top formation here. So price should be falling. So I'm still bearish on Nifty and Bank Nifty for this week. And let me discuss the stocks which I would like to trade as per my trading plan for this week. I have picked the ones where I have good confirmations, and I will share those with you. So we have the first one, Hero Motocorp, where I'm bearish. You can see the reason very clearly. Right, if you just use the tool of Fibonacci, you can understand. We have a 38.2% pullback, and then this candlestick which closed today has broken beyond the previous low with a body dominating close. Right, so this indicates this downward movement still has strength to go. We can see the next support is 2241, so we can look at further downside in this. So for this week, I am bearish on Hero. I'm also bearish on Tata Motors. You can see the market is starting to drip on the downside. We have rejection, and if we check the daily chart, right, it gets clearer. There's a good resistance, and price is starting to drop. Right, so I'm bearish on both Hero and Tata Motors for this week. Other stocks on the automobile industry are not giving any confirmation, so that's why I've not picked them. Tech Mahindra is the next one that we will check. So what we see here is, those of you who have taken the course with us know that this is the 2618 strategy signal. So here we have our price at the golden ratio 61.8 and forming a bearish engulfing, which means we are looking at the start of the next downward move. So bearish on Tech Mahindra for this week, followed by Wipro. Similar setup. Price fell, did a pullback, only thing in this case a pullback of 38.2%. The first target would be the low, and this 38.2% pullback basically indicates that we should be crossing the low. Right, so there's a lot of momentum still left in the stock. So Wipro again bearish for this week. ITC was a good stock. This is where I made most of my profits also this week. In fact, today specifically, playing that too with out of the money options. Alright, so weekly chart, you can see the reason we have double bottom. This was last week, double top, and this week is a confirmation. You can also call this as your morning star, but then it's at a resistance instead of an upward move. Any which case, the body of the candlestick indicates that we are looking at further downside momentum. It's clearer on the daily chart. First target would be 241, but this is bearish for this week too. Asian Paints is in the channel, but still the correction is due. Right, you can see the weekly candle has closed bearish. I'm expecting price to at least touch the next support. Right, even if it is just a spike, it could be just a pullback and price starts to move up. But currently we are bearish for this week because the fall has not yet happened. IOC, clear signals price is moving down and it has not reached the support. So continue to ride the downward move. Similar setup in ONGC. Bearish move, next support at 124. Coal India, we have the downward move and a bearish confirmation today. You can see this on the chart very clearly. Rejection of 38.2 and a confirmation. First target of 178. So this week expecting it to be bearish. And then we have Vedanta. You can see we've been bearish on this for quite some time, but it was not moving. Finally, this week we have a strong confirmation. Last week we did. This week is further confirmation. So bearish on Vedanta, first target of 126. Alright, that's it for now. Mixed reactions. You can see analysis wise I'm still bearish on this, but not specific to a sector. I've just taken stocks which are giving me good confirmations, right? So normally we have more. This time we have about 10 stocks that we can rely on for this week. Wish you all the best for this week. Happy trading and trade safe. See you guys next week. Bye bye.